Ambassador Joy, Riker knew he was walking into a trap when he entered the Galactic Council chambers on Nexus Prime. The elegant spires of the alien architecture reached impossibly high into the violet sky, designed to make species from less advanced worlds feel small. It was working. You understand the gravity of these proceedings, Ambassador? The council speaker, Magistrate Valorum, loomed from the central dais. His elongated cranium housed 8 eyes that blinked in disturbing asynchrony. The 7 other council members, representing the dominant species of the Galactic Coalition, watched in cold silence. I understand that humanity has been set up, Riker replied, standing tall despite the artificial gravity set slightly higher than Earth normal. These charges are fabricated. The evidence against Earth was damning, but manufactured. Sabotage of 3 alien colony worlds, bioweapon deployment on Tarsus 4, and theft of sacred technology from the Letherian archives. Humanity, only 70 years into space exploration, lacked the capability for such actions. The Council has reviewed your appeal, Valorum continued dispassionately. It is denied. Riker felt the presence of the guards closing in behind him. Earth will not submit to these false accusations. We demand independent investigation. A ripple of contemptuous chittering spread through the chamber. The Mirani representative, a crystalline entity that communicated through light pulses, flashed a deep crimson, the equivalent of derisive laughter. Ambassador, Valorum's secondary voice sac inflated. Your species is too volatile. Your integration into galactic society was premature. The decision is unanimous. Only then did Riker notice that High Commander Oridel of the Astral Dominion was watching with particular intensity. The pieces suddenly aligned in Riker's mind. The Dominion had orchestrated everything. As an expansionist faction within the Council, they had viewed humanity's rapid technological advancement with alarm. You need us, Riker argued, desperation creeping into his voice. Humanity brings innovation the Dominion fears. A series of sharp clicks emanated from Oridel, the equivalent of a smirk. The evidence speaks for itself. Through his neural implant, Riker discreetly transmitted his final message to the human delegation waiting at the edge of the system. Council compromised. Evidence planted by Dominion. Prepare contingency, Obsidian Shield. The Council chambers darkened as the formal sentencing began. For crimes against galactic peace, Earth is hereby denied sovereign status. As Earth's representative, you, Joy Riker, will bear witness to this judgment through execution. Guards with energy restraints surrounded him. Riker straightened his shoulders and looked directly at Valorum. You've made a grave miscalculation. Humanity doesn't stand alone. Your primitive alliances with border worlds are inconsequential, Valorum dismissed. Riker smiled thinly. I wasn't referring to our allies. As the guards led him away, the strange glyphs etched into his cufflinks began to pulse with subtle energy, a quantum beacon activating. Humanity had prepared for betrayal. While Riker had known his mission might be a suicide assignment, the Council had no idea that his death would trigger events set in motion years ago. The diplomatic vessel that had brought the human delegation carried more than ambassadors. Hidden in its design were dormant systems, now receiving Riker's final command codes. As Riker was forced to kneel before the assembled council, he whispered, "Remember Earth." Commander Meredith Ironstead received Riker's final transmission aboard the diplomatic vessel Athena's Wisdom, stationed at the system's edge. Her face remained stoic as she processed the message, though her knuckles whitened around the command console. "They've done it," she announced to her crew. Ambassador Riker has been executed. Initiate Obsidian Shield. Lieutenant Phoenix Caldwell, tactical specialist with scars covering half his face from the Proxima Centauri conflict, looked up sharply. Confirmation code? Verification complete, Meredith responded. Quantum signature matches the ambassador's neural pattern. The bridge fell silent. Obsidian Shield wasn't just a defensive protocol. It was humanity's failsafe against extinction, developed after first contact revealed the vastness of galactic politics and the precarious position Earth occupied. Alert all human outposts and colonies, Meredith ordered. Immediate communications blackout with non-human entities. Deploy stealth buoys at all warp junctions. Outside the viewport, strange distortions began to shimmer as a dozen unmarked ships decloaked, the vanguard of Earth's classified fleet. Unlike the diplomatic vessels known to the Council, these ships incorporated technological innovations that humans had carefully kept hidden. Ma'am, Communications Officer Varric Isolde interrupted, his dark eyes wide. We're receiving a general broadcast from Nexus Prime. The Council is formally announcing sanctions against Earth, and they're calling for our surrender. Of course they are, Meredith replied grimly, because they don't yet understand what they've done. On the view screen, Magistrate Valorum's elongated face appeared, speaking with ceremonial gravity. The rogue human colony known as Earth has been found guilty of crimes against galactic peace. All human vessels must power down and prepare for boarding. Resistance will be met with appropriate force. Meredith cut the transmission. Prepare jump coordinates for the Erebus Network. The Erebus Network, a hidden constellation of quantum-linked waypoints, was humanity's greatest secret. While the Council believed humans relied entirely on conventional warp technology, Earth had quietly developed an alternative method of interstellar travel. Commander, Tactical Officer Draven Chorus interjected. 3 Dominion warships approaching. They're charging weapons. As expected, Meredith replied. Defensive countermeasures only. We need to buy time for the fleet to disperse. The first salvos from the Dominion ships were deflected by shields that, by all Council intelligence, humans shouldn't have possessed. The Athena's wisdom shuddered but held. They're hailing us again, Varric reported. Ignore it, Meredith ordered. Execute jump sequence now. As the ship prepared to vanish through its quantum corridor, Meredith thought about Ambassador Riker's sacrifice. They had been close friends, graduating together from the Terran Diplomatic Corps. He had known this assignment might be his last, but had accepted it without hesitation. Jump complete, the navigator announced as the stars blurred and reformed. We've reached the Erebus Alpha checkpoint. Throughout human space, similar scenes were unfolding. Earth's colonies were initiating emergency protocols. Civilian ships were seeking shelter at hidden outposts, and military vessels were converging at predetermined coordinates. On Earth itself, President Alaravos addressed the planet. Citizens of Earth and her colonies, today the Galactic Council has committed an act of war against humanity. Ambassador Riker has been executed without due process. We now activate the contingency we hoped would never be necessary. Across Earth's night sky, orbital platforms shifted configuration, revealing their true purpose. What appeared to be standard atmospheric regulators transformed, unfolding into defensive arrays that generated a planetary shield. In the depths of Luna Base, General Arcturus Vex activated the Umbra Protocol, awakening dormant systems built into every human settlement across 27 star systems. Darkness was about to blanket the galaxy, but not in the way the Council imagined. The Galactic Council chambers erupted in chaos 3 days after Riker's execution. Emergency reports flooded in from across controlled space as monitoring stations went dark one by one. Trade routes were disrupted by unexplained navigational failures. Communication relays between sectors stuttered and died. What is happening? Demanded Valorum, as the Council's holographic displays flickered with static. Where are the humans? High Commander Oridel of the Astral Dominion stood rigidly before the Council. We've lost contact with our pursuit fleet. Before communications failed, they reported that the human vessels disappeared. Disappeared. The Mirani representative pulsed anxiously in shades of alarmed yellow. Explain. They did not use any known form of propulsion, Oridel admitted. Our sensors detected quantum disturbances unlike any register technology. The Council chamber's lights dimmed momentarily, a precursor to greater failures cascading through Nexus Prime systems. On the frontier world of Kelpis 3, Governor Zuwaxal of the Vexery hegemony watched in horror as the orbital shipping lanes descended into confusion. The automated tracking system that coordinated thousands of daily vessel movements had failed catastrophically. 3 freighters had already collided. The humans, he growled to his security chief. They've done something to our networks. The security chief hesitated. Governor, our technicians report finding unusual code fragments embedded in our systems. They appear to have been dormant for years, until now. Across the galaxy, the same discovery was being made. Humanity had spent decades planting sophisticated sleeper viruses in critical systems. Viruses designed not to destroy, but to confuse, misdirect, and obfuscate. Combined with the sudden disruption of key communication nodes by Earth's hidden fleet, galactic civilization found itself partially blinded. In the Cygnus Reach, Admiral Lysithea Thorne commanded a squadron of Earth's most advanced warships. Unlike the diplomatic vessels known to the Council, these incorporated technologies reverse-engineered from a dozen alien sources and improved upon by human innovation. Status report, she ordered, studying the tactical display aboard the Indomitable. Operation Nightfall proceeding as planned, her executive officer, Commander Rigel Blackwood, replied. 78% of targeted communication hubs have been neutralized. The Council is effectively deaf in this quadrant. Lysithea nodded grimly. And our allies? The Caldari fleet has moved to secure the Vega corridor as promised. The Nexri border worlds are providing sensor coverage. The Tressler delegation has formally withdrawn from the Council in protest of Riker's execution. This was the Council's critical miscalculation. They had dismissed humanity's primitive alliances without understanding their nature. While Earth lacked the Dominion's military might, humans excelled at building relationships with marginalized species. The border worlds and independent systems that chafed under Council authority had found common cause with Earth. On Nexus Prime, the Council's arrogance was giving way to dawning comprehension. We've confirmed reports that Earth's planetary defenses have been activated. A junior aide reported nervously. Our intelligence suggests these defenses were constructed in plain sight, disguised as atmospheric regulation equipment. Valorum turned accusingly to the Council's intelligence director. How did we miss this? We underestimated them, the director admitted. Human technological development doesn't follow predictable patterns like other species. They innovate through intuitive leaps rather than linear progression. In human space, preparations years in the making were coming to fruition. Hidden shipyards revealed massive vessels previously shielded from detection. Special forces units trained in xenobiological warfare deployed to strategic locations. And most concerning to the Council, Earth's quantum communication network, immune to conventional interference, allowed humanity to coordinate while the rest of the galaxy floundered in information darkness. At Luna Command, General Arcturus Vex received confirmation that all human assets were in position. Begin Phase 2, he ordered. Selective strikes on military targets only. Remember Ambassador Riker's principles. We fight the institution, not the civilians. As darkness spread across galactic communications and transportation networks, the first precision strikes against Dominion military installations commenced. Earth was not seeking conquest, it sought justice, and the freedom to exist without domination. The war that erupted after Ambassador Riker's execution lasted 42 standard days. It was unlike any conflict the galaxy had witnessed in 10,000 years. Humanity did not fight conventionally. Instead of massing fleets for direct engagement, human vessels struck from quantum corridors, appearing without warning to disable critical military infrastructure before vanishing again. The specialized EMP weapons they deployed rendered enemy technology temporarily useless, without causing mass casualties. In the Council chamber on Nexus Prime, now operating on emergency power, Magistrate Valorum faced the bitter reality of miscalculation. The humans have disabled 90% of the Dominion's offensive capability, reported a haggard military advisor. They've avoided civilian targets entirely. Our propaganda efforts have failed. The border worlds are calling them liberators, not aggressors. High Commander Oridel, once proud and dismissive of human capabilities, stood disgraced. We cannot sustain this conflict. Their attack patterns are unpredictable, and our defenses were designed to counter known technologies. The Letherian counselor, who had remained silent throughout the crisis, finally spoke. We must acknowledge the truth. We judged humanity by standards inappropriate to their species. Their technological development, their diplomatic strategy, their military doctrine, all defy our models. On the 50th day after Riker's execution, a single human vessel appeared in orbit around Nexus Prime. It made no aggressive moves, simply broadcasting a single message on all frequencies. We await the Council's response to our terms. The terms had been delivered simultaneously to every world in Council space. Recognition of Earth's sovereignty, reparations for Riker's unlawful execution, and a complete restructuring of the Council to prevent future abuses of power. In the Council chamber, debate raged for hours until the Morani representative flashed a pattern of solemn blue pulses. We have no choice. The humans have demonstrated not only superior tactical thinking, but also remarkable restraint. Had they wished to destroy us, they could have. With reluctance, Valorum authorized a response. The Council will meet with Earth's representatives. 3 days later, Commander Meredith Ironstead stood in the same spot where Joy Riker had been executed. Unlike Riker, she came with an honor guard of both humans and representatives from 24 formerly marginalized species. The Council acknowledges its error in the matter of Ambassador Riker. Valorum stated formally, "We seek terms for peace." Meredith's expression remained impassive. Peace requires justice. Justice requires truth. At her signal, evidence was presented proving the Astral Dominion had fabricated charges against Earth. High Commander Oridel and his conspirators were taken into custody by a coalition of Council security forces and representatives from Earth's allied species. Humanity does not seek vengeance, Meredith declared. Ambassador Riker believed in the potential of a truly just galactic community. His execution will not have been in vain if it leads to the reform this Council desperately needs. The Treaty of Nexus Prime, signed one standard week later, did more than end hostilities. It fundamentally restructured galactic governance. The dominant species, who had controlled the Council for millennia, were forced to share power with a coalition of formerly marginalized worlds. Humanity, rather than taking a privileged position, insisted on equal representation for all. On Earth, crowds gathered to witness the return of Riker's remains. President Alara Voss accepted the ceremonial urn containing his ashes. Ambassador Riker knew he might not return. She addressed the planet and its colonies. His final message included these words, "If my death must come, let it serve as catalyst for change rather than cause for vengeance." We have honored his wish. Among the stars, a new era began. The darkness that had blanketed the sky following Riker's execution had not been the darkness of destruction, but of transformation, a necessary eclipse before a new dawn. In the reconstituted Council chambers, now relocated to neutral space, Ambassador Riker's empty chair remained as a permanent reminder. Beside it stood a simple plaque bearing the words that had become the foundation of the new Galactic Charter. Remember Earth. Remember that the measure of a civilization is not its technological advancement, but its commitment to justice. Remember that darkness precedes dawn,